But Silicon Valley has a very different experience on who to hire and who does well in a Silicon Valley kind of company. Now, Ben Horowitz has some experience with this himself, recently writing in his blog about a past employee that he called a flake.
The lead-in to that blog was a Kanye West quote, and Kanye West to me is like the quintessential guy who's brilliant, but you won't want to manage him.
Right. Well, you also mentioned Terrell Owens in that as well. Yeah. T.O. maybe also in that category.
Yeah, those are the kinds of guys. And actually, it's a funny thing, when I wrote that post, the very first example was this prototype called the Flake. And the employee that I had was a brilliant guy, probably one of my best employees for about a month. But he turned out to be both bipolar and a cocaine addict. And, you know, it was just like he would disappear, like all kinds of bad things would happen. And after I wrote the post, I got an email within 5 minutes from that. I changed his name in the post, but he recognized himself and wrote me an email, and he's like, Ben, I'm all better now. It happens in a variety of different ways, and Terrell Owens is a kind of a really interesting example as well. But some people can be really, really smart, but not necessarily an effective part of a company or team. So although they've got, you know, brilliant strengths, there may be something else that's driving them. They may figure out something wrong with your company that makes them really not want to pursue the goals and the mission of the company anymore and have a different mission. They might just have a drug problem or might be insane, which a lot of brilliant people are insane. They're very enticing, particularly if you're doing something like building a really complicated technology product. So you've got somebody who can code like 10 times as much as your average employee and really, really smart. But you know, when you need them to finish what they're working on, they might disappear for like 2 weeks.
Right.
Where, you know, no show, no call, and that kind of thing tends not to work really, really well in a company. And one of the things I had in the post, which is one of my favorite lines, is something John Madden said, which is, you know, some guys like that, you know, you'll hold the bus for. If you held the bus for everybody on the team who's going to be late, you'd never make it to the game. But there might be one player who's so good, and you can't get to show up on time, that you'll hold the bus for him. But you can only have like one guy on the team like that.
Well, let me ask you about that also. There's a topic that's come up as relates to Skype. I know it's a deal you were in, so maybe I don't know if you can talk about this or not, but some employees were vested in some stock options, which were surprisingly taken away from them. Do you think that that's okay to do to people in general, a new approach to stock options in Silicon Valley? Yeah,
so I think that that was a little bit misunderstood, and part of it, you know, I would say part of it is my fault and the company's fault for not articulating kind of more to the media what the package was. But I think it was actually very well communicated to employees, and some of the stuff came out on that later. But the incentive package for Skype was a little different than a lot of venture-backed companies, but you know, Skype wasn't a venture-backed company. The pre-money on Skype was zero, right? Like it was a private equity company. And so the two things that were really different were, one, the expectation for employees was you would stay till a liquidity event, and that was the kind of like give back your options part. The other part, though, was all employees got option acceleration on acquisition, which you don't see in any Silicon Valley things. And they also
just explain what that is. It means that your 4 years of options vest on the day of a deal, whether it was 2 years or 1 year.
Yeah, so, and there were two portions, but the performance portion of the stock plan vested instantly. And then the other thing that was very, very good in the package is they had actual fire protection for regular employees for 2 years after an acquisition. So the package was designed for the Skype deal, not for like a typical venture deal. Some parts of the package were worse and parts were better for employees, but you know, overall it was the right package for people who joined Skype.